action. All right, Ms. Janice, you know what? I did a show once called The Akashic Show, and my favorite thing about The Akashic Show was we broke all the rules and we didn't start the show how you're supposed to start the show. We just started talking like this.
Cool.
Just start talking. So how you doing today, Ms. Janice?
I am doing wonderful. It's a beautiful day, sunshine.
I'm so excited that you're here. All right, so I'm going to break down for everybody exactly who you are and why you're here, and then we're going to dive in. Everybody, welcome Janice Schafer. Janice Pendergraph Schafer, or do you just go by Janice Schafer? Because you got a lot of names.
Janice Schafer is what I go by, but if you try to find me on Facebook, it's Janice Pendergraph Schafer.
That's who she is. And she is also the newest graduate student from Learn to Read the Akashic Records. Janice and I have gotten to know each other really well and walked a spectacular journey over the course of the last 3 months together. And I'm so excited to share Janice with each of you today, because the geniuses, as I like to call them, that come out of the Akashic Academy, Learn to Read the Records, are all different. Each one of them begins to develop a unique area of expertise, a unique skill set. And Janice's skill set, when she began reading records for others, not just herself, but for her friends and her family and her clients, and she began to use this practice more in her life, it began to come through her in a different way. The information came through in a really unique way. So we are going to talk about that today. Janice!
Yes.
You are somebody who spends a lot of time investing in yourself and investing in your knowledge and your skill set. What was different about this process that you didn't find necessarily in other courses?
One of the things that was different was just how experiential experience it was.
Make up a word, Janice. Just make up a word for it. That's what I do.
Hey, my son says that I a lot of times will say words almost right, but they're just off just a little bit. But it wasn't just, okay, read and it's, yeah, you've got this information now. It was really putting it into action and getting to see how the process worked for me going through the course, getting to learn and basically saying, I think I'm going to do that exercise again because, I got so much out of it, or I think that I can go deeper with that.
Mm-hmm. You're naturally a great student in that way. I always find that I digest so much more the second time through, and sometimes I'll skip that process. If I'm busy or I feel like I got it, does not matter. If we go back again and reabsorb material, there's always something completely new. And I actually, when I was doing one-on-one sessions with my clients, I would record them and I would always say, go back and watch this in a week or 2 weeks, because you will be totally different and you will hear completely new information. It'll be like you got another reading.
Well, I used to say that I could listen to something like 3 times and just know it, just have it. Not necessarily this course, but other information. And there's been a lot of times in this course where there'll be something I'll go, I just listened to that, and now, but I didn't hear any of that, or I didn't hear it in that way. So it's been, just a huge learning and expansion process.
That just goes to show how much ego you've truly transmitted, Janice, that you know and love about yourself, that there's going to be more for you every time that you go in, and you don't resist that at all, thinking, oh, I already know this. You approach everything with an openness and a beginner's mind, paired with a level of expertise that everybody will get to see a little bit more of as we continue to interact here and let everybody know how they can play with you and experience how the information comes through you. I also love how you talked about the actionability of Learn to Read the Records. I've been a teacher, like literally since I was old enough to be a teacher at Bible school. I'm like, oh yeah, I want to be the teacher of the class, teaching my animals. There's always been this essence of me that has loved teaching. And I think what a lot of coaches miss a lot of teachers miss, a lot of spiritual gurus miss, is breaking down how does this become actionable in my day-to-day life. And that's something that my guides have really been present with me in creating little ways, fun ways to keep you playing with this energy in day-to-day life, not just when you go to the mat or when you go to your meditation space to sit. And I love that those who walk my lineage and learn this will take that lesson, that like underlying lesson of, oh, I need to make sure that I create actionable steps for my students and my clients so that they can fully integrate this. Because it just makes you that much more effective. And that didn't have really anything to do with reading the records. That just has to do with when you're with the right mentors, you can mirror and mimic their style and their formulas for creating powerful transformation, and then you put your spin on it.
One of the things I think along those lines that really comes through for me when I'm doing readings for others is a lot of times it's basically just get into action, start moving, because then there's like guardrails or something where they can guide you. You can be guided, you can move along. Whereas if you're standing there, it's a lot harder to put you to get anything done. It's like they have to push. But if you just start moving, so if you start taking those actions, then you can be guided. You can be, if they need to turn you around 180 degrees, they can. But, it's hard to take something that's stopped and move it.
Janice, you were somebody who came into my field and pretty much right away, you knew, yep, this work is for me. Not everybody does that. There are some lurkers out there who hang out in my field for a long time. I've never met them before, but then all of a sudden they come out, I've been watching you for years. You knew it was go time right away. What was it about this work that lit up inside of you that let you know, yep, this is the next step that I need to take?
Well, I don't know if you remember our first interaction or not, Emily, but I had a question regarding my son.
Miro, right?
Yeah, it was.
Yeah, I do remember.
Yeah, and I had a question related to my son.
I know it. It's about your son.
Yeah.
Oh, I was going to try to beat you to the punch so that you knew that I remembered. Okay, yes. It was about your son, but I don't remember specific. Oh, I'm remembering more now. I'm going to keep my mouth shut, though. You can tell the story from your perspective, Janice. I'll be quiet.
I'd love to hear it from yours. But I had a question about my son, and it was your answer to that just basically opened up totally different perspective for me in regards to some things that he was going through. And then interestingly enough, I was listening to another live later that day, ask a similar question to the person on there. They had a similar answer, but it wasn't as in depth or to the point that yours was. And then one of the things that you said, and I'll just say my son has severe anxiety and it was related to that. One of the things that you said was that part of it related back to how I interacted with him and me getting in touch with myself. And then I just knew that there was something with what you were doing that would allow me to get more in touch with myself.
In every area. Oh, I feel that like electrifying my whole body. So, Janice, what is possible for you now that you've completed that process and you've gotten back in touch with yourself? How's life changed and different?
Well, I kind of laughed because a minute ago you said something about a beginner's mind, and I really do think I have a beginner's mind. I feel like that. I feel like this work is so powerful, and I have grown so much, and yet I am still a novice. There's just so much more that is available to me and through me to helping others. That it's just, I just see that it's an incredible technology, for the lack of a better word. It is incredible technology for people to really, including myself, to get in touch with who they are, what they want, being able to make decisions with just all of the additional information, just tapping into to everything that's available to us.
And how has your relationship with your son shifted?
Um, it is basically shifted that I don't have the judgment over his anxiety, and
Mm.
he is more free to be, is the way that I would put it. And that allows him to be able to just open up a little more about various things.
And
So,
that's so important for uh, any mama out there who is struggling with your relationship with your kid for any reason at all. This is a beautiful a reminder to always go back, take it deeply inward, and see it through the lens of, what do I need to learn here?
mhm,
Because when you found the lesson to release the judgment around the anxiety, it created space.
yeah.
And we can solve so many things in our life by just creating some space in there. Mm-hmm. Okay, one more question for you, Miss Janice, and then we can talk about how you get the specific information. What's your favorite curse word, Janice? And you can spell it if you're, because I do work with some very sophisticated high priestesses who don't have quite the same foul mouth as I do, and I love that about them. So you can spell it if you don't want to say it.
I would say that my favorite curse word is fuck.
Yeah, she said it too. Oh, good one. I like that one because it can be used in every part of speech, for every part of speech.
Yeah, that's true. It can.
It can.
So,
Okay, so Janice, when I'm getting information, I'm a super cerebral kind of gal. I've practiced doing this a lot with just like putting vocabulary instantly to the intelligence, the data that's coming into my field. But that's not the only way to get information. And sometimes it can mess people up a little bit, because whatever vocabulary I choose and words that Emily assigns to something is going to be interpreted a certain way through that other being. So just because it's very easy to understand what the message is as it's coming, like if I put words to it and hand it over to my person, it's still subject to the interpretation of going through their field. The way that you do it actually eliminates that. Talk to everybody a little bit more about the unique way that just unfolded for you.
well, and that was something that was very unique, very unusual for me, because I wasn't expecting this. When I started doing readings for other people, it was like all of a sudden I started getting like sensations in my body, various places in my body. And I had to learn language to basically explain that without making judgment about it, about but sometimes, I just have to explain it. Oh, it's a heavy feeling, or it's a light feeling, or it feels like I just drank hot chocolate. But it can be in, feelings in the various chakras. It can be feelings in, the back, in the shoulders, just various places. And that was like, I'm like, I don't know what's going on here, but Emily had said that anything that happened while we were in the records was part of it. So I need to start sharing what's going on with my body. And I actually even have had one time where my body has started rocking back and forth. And, all I do is just share what's going on to the best of my ability.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's the number one way that I get information. I would say the number two way that I get information is through images. And they're not images. Occasionally they're like realistic images,
Mm-hmm.
but most of the time they're like stylized or impressions.
Mm-hmm.
And that is very interesting because I can't just take what I see and transfer it over. So I do have to use some kind of language to describe it. And sometimes people are like, oh, and they'll draw it out and put it up. And it's like, yeah, that's exactly what I saw. Other times it's like, neither one of us have any idea. And I had somebody one time when I said, oh, well, it's like a stylized X and it's whatever. And they said, oh, it's a DNA helix. And I'm like, oh my gosh, it is.
Cool.
So it is really cool.
And I just wanted to comment for anyone who does come in and play with you or has this experience working with an intuitive. just kind of give you a little backstory about how it goes. Sometimes these impressions or these pictures will come up into your mind and they don't have relevance right away, and that is okay. That does not mean that it's not an accurate picture that's coming in. It like happened to me. This lady gave me this incredibly specific reading that when she gave it to me, I could sort of relate to it. She had two pictures that flashed in her head. One was a giant lavender bush. I'm like, oh, I like lavender. The other was like a giant garden structure, looked like the Eiffel Tower with a fleur-de-lis on the top. I'm like, I like French things. I think I was French in a past life. Merci beaucoup for the reading. And it wasn't until 6 months later when I'm outside doing some yard work and I turn to walk back inside and I'm looking at my front door, and on one side is a lavender bush and the other side is that exact garden structure with the fleur-de-lis on top that she said. I'm like, she's seeing my front door and it takes me 6 months before it clicks. So sometimes that happens. If it happens, go with it. You just like put that back in your back pocket. You remember it. And when the time is right, when you're out doing your gardening and you turn around to walk back inside one day, you're going to get pork chopped upside the head, knowing exactly what the message meant.
And that's the other thing with that, is that I'll tell them, this is what it appears to me. This is how I have to explain it. Mm-hmm. And when you look at it, it may be something totally different that looks exactly like that, when you look at it, but you see something totally different later.
And that's a great point, which is why I want to be really clear. We're going to tell you how to play with Janice, but if you decide to play with Janice, this isn't just about you asking a question and Janice responding. You got to come back and play again, because Janice is going to share how it's coming up in her field with you, but you need to let her know and let everybody hear, because this is the sandbox where we're all playing together for the purpose of all of our learning and growth. I want you to make sure that you come back and let Janice know in the comments how that presents for you, how that's relevant for you, or if it's not relevant, which is, again, perfectly okay, because the relevance will begin to reveal itself. And it's okay if you don't have it right at the very beginning. Okay, so Janice, people ask questions or talk about things that they want insight on, and then you get to hit in the body in some way that it comes up for you. Then you share with them, you guys start to decode what this means. Then what happens with, like, once you hit the spot of, oh, that's it, then what do you do?
So the thing that I noticed in doing the readings is that, it might start off where it's like, especially even in myself, I'm like, I have no idea, if this information is relevant. So basically I'll continue to ask, does this resonate? And I will tell people when we start off, I'm just sharing the information that I get, whatever I get with you. It's up to you to interpret it, because like we just talked about, my interpretation may be totally different than yours, and I don't know. Like I saw something one time, and I'm like, well, it might be this, or it might be, and I said a fetus. Turns out she was thinking about what she wanted to do was work with pregnant moms to relieve trauma.
Beautiful.
And I had no way of knowing that.
Yes.
So, it's kind of like I just share the information, and then I also remind people too, we're in your records together. So you're getting information just as well as what I am. And that's just as important, or even more important and more powerful than what I get. But then what will happen a lot of times is, let's say that there is something going on, like in the lower part of the body, like the lower chakras, that area or something, and people will say, well, what do I need to do? What do I need to do next? And then, they'll ask that question of the records. And then it may be that information comes through like, oh, you need to basically start moving that power. And it could be something like, hey, you need to sing from the depth of your diaphragm all the way up. It may be, oh, you need to go out and stomp in the woods. And there'll be some kind of, to use the word you use, medicine that comes through, something, that comes through a lot of times. And that's really interesting to see too, what does come through there.
I agree with you. The medicine that's cultivated in the records is so incredibly powerful because it's unique to each person. That's what, and just the records are so brilliant. I love all of the healing protocols that have come into this planet: Reiki, EFT, theta healing. Like I've played with all of them. I'm actually Reiki 2 certified. Not a Reiki master, but I'm Reiki 2 certified. I'm a lot of shit certified, y'all, because I love it. I love playing with all of these different energies. But the thing that about the records that's different about every other healing modality is it's unique to you, and you can only get the medicine if you sit down in session with somebody and go into your records, or if you know how to go into your records yourself and you know how to recover medicine. That's really some of the areas where we spend a lot of time in the records. Like once you get to know yourself, these advanced skills of moving forward and backward through time and learning how to master your skills are all parts of learning how to make medicine for people. And that's really what we're producing, like genius medicine makers. Whether your medicine is a healing, or your medicine is advanced creativity, or your medicine is inspiration, or your medicine is let's solve your shit so you can be in the relationship that you want. You were going to say something and then I kept preaching.
Yeah, and it's gone now. So.
Sorry. I worked with you long enough, Janice, to know when you light up when you're about to say something. I should have shut my mouth. Oh. Okay, so just to be clear, we're going to open up the comments below for you guys to play. Janice, your time is really, really potent and valuable. Let's put a number on the first how many comments you'll promise to play with those people. Other people, they can read along, they can see what's going on. Feel free to reach out. You might get to more people, because I gotta tell you guys something about Janice. Janice holds what I call the Guinness Book of World Records, of Akashic World Records, for the most readings done during her internship time. So I encourage my students to, do 5, 10, maybe 15 readings. How many did you do, Janice, in the 30 days?
I did slightly over 70, and that wasn't planned. I thought, I didn't even know that I was supposed to do a 30-day internship, and I got to the end and said, a 30-day internship. Well, I might be able to find 5 people. These 3 people I'm in this group with probably will do it, and I can probably maybe get these 2 people to do it. And then the next thing I know, I just put it out there in a couple of groups, and I didn't even know what would happen. And the next thing I know, I've got people signing up, people wanting.
It's the referrals. It was the referrals that happened, Janice.
Yeah,
because the people that you reached out to work with were blown away and were like, hey, I got somebody else who needs you, Miss Janice.
Yeah.
That's what really happened here, guys.
Yeah, that definitely happened. I had, one of the first, it was actually the second person I read. Mm-hmm. She basically within 2 days had already sent me 2 other people to do. And that definitely happened where like one person sent me members of her family to do. And I don't know, I think I did about 4 people out of that family. So it was just, it was incredible. And it was also incredible, I just want to say, just seeing the healing that came out of doing those 70. I feel like that it really made a difference in their lives, their families' lives, and the community, and even just touching the world itself. And it was just, it was powerful. It was beautiful.
70 plus, man. That's how many pounds I gained when I was pregnant with Vivian. All right, so what feels like a good number to you?
15.
She stretched it. I was gonna say 10. Only 10 of y'all get to play with Miss Janice. She said 15. All right, so here's how it goes. The first 15 of you to ask a question or share an area of your life where you'd like greater insight, Janice is going to tune in, and in her special way, whether it's through her body or through the images, she will share what's coming alive for her. And then it's your job to check back in and let us know how that resonates for you, okay? If she sees an apple pie, you got to let us know what the apple pie means to you. All right. Also, to be very clear, if you want Janice to go into the records with you and get the medicine, that's a session that you need to book with Janice, a package of sessions that you need to book with Janice so that you can really get the depth of her work. Okay. So just so everybody knows the rules and how it goes, Janice, do you feel like I explained that well? Since we're doing a recording here, we can't
Yeah, I
ask if
do.
anybody has any questions. So did I explain that well?
I feel like you did. So
Awesome. And before we wrap up today, what would you just like to share with everybody? Any last words on your mind and heart?
I would just say that if a person has never tapped into the Akashic Records, that it is an incredible technology that I had no idea just how powerful it was, just the depth of the healing that it can occur, the depth of the transformation and awareness that can come out, and that it's available to all of us, and it's a game changer.
I would just like to say thank you to you. You have been an incredible student, my favorite kind to work with. What I call sitting on ready. You show up, you're ready to get in and do the work. You'll do the work 3 times. You'll do the work 70 times over. You're a dream for me as a mentor. You've done the lineage proud. You know, because we share this inside of the culture, but those on the outside might not know that every student who goes through this experience leaves their inheritance. They color the space with their energy. And Janice, yours has been a gift to every student, past, present, and future, who will do this work. And such a tremendous gift to me, and a gift to everyone that will get to experience your genius in the records.
Thank you, Emily. And I just want to thank you for showing up in my space and creating the opportunity for me to be able to do this. It's changed my life. And as you just said, it's going to allow me to impact and change the lives of others.
You can embody what it is that you're here to do without the second guessing and the confusion. And just like for me, that's the most tremendous legacy to gift the planet. So thank you. And thank you all for being here and being a part of it. Put your comments below. Play with Miss Janice. Have fun playing with my girl, Miss Janice. And be sure to stay connected here inside the Akashic Academy. So whatever is being invited forward for your highest learning and growth can drop into place for you, begin to make more sense, and give you the inspiration and the safety of knowing that you're in the right container to do the deep work that your records are inviting you to do. So I love you guys.